When I first started selling on TPT, I used to have a really long commute. And so in that really long commute, I started listening to all sorts of podcasts. I only at the time knew of one podcast that was TPT related. So mostly I listened to like Pat Flynn, and he's the only one that really stands out, so I don't remember what the other ones I listened to were. But I definitely listened to a lot of Pat Flynn, and I listened to one that would interview TPT sellers that the name escapes me, and I tried to look it up, but now there's so many podcasts for TPT sellers, I had no idea. And so I was looking, anyway, long story. So I don't know what it's called, you can maybe help me out in the comments, but they used to, I don't even know if they do it anymore, but they used to interview TPT sellers and talk about, you know, all different things. And there were like specific questions they asked every time. And the last question they would ask every time, and in that, they would always ask, how much time do you spend on making products versus marketing? And I'm not gonna lie, at first I thought that was the weirdest question, because in my brain, like, I don't really separate it out as I think about it, like, you know, oh, now is marketing time, now is creation time. I just kind of see it all as like my business and working on the business. So I always thought it was like a really strange question. But the longer that I have been on TPT and the more I've talked to some of you, I've realized that this can be a really difficult question, is like, okay, how much time should you spend creating products versus marketing? So let's talk about it. First off, I want to say that, again, I don't see a big, huge difference. And a big reason for that, most of my marketing is like content marketing. So like making YouTube videos, making blog posts, those kind of things. And those don't feel like marketing to me. They just feel like creating, and they just feel like, you know, a part of the business. To me, marketing, when I think of marketing, like typically I think like, oh, writing, even like writing emails I would put under that, but like making ads, which I've never done, or like putting things on Pinterest, that does feel like marketing to me. But doing those kind of things that are less creation based and a little more like promoting. The first thing I want to talk about is that not everything has to be separated into like what is marketing and what is not marketing. So don't stress a ton about this, but I do want to give you a couple of things to think about as you're kind of creating your ideal week of like what would be a good amount to create and what's a good amount to market and do all of that kind of stuff. So don't stress, but here's a couple of thoughts. The first thought is that there's not really a right way to do this. There's a lot of people who make money on TPT who only have a few products but do a lot of marketing. And there's other people who have a ton of products but they don't do as much marketing, or some people that don't do marketing at all. There's not like a right way to do things. However, I will say that if you want your business to grow quickly, long term, and if you want to be more in control of your business, that you should definitely make sure that you are marketing. I think especially in this past year, a lot of the people who were, actually I know because people have messaged me being like, I have never marketed my business, I've just made products, and suddenly that's not enough anymore. But a lot of those people are kind of realizing like, oh, I really do need to be marketing because I need more control over my business, and I need to, you know, do things in case crazy things happen on TPT, because crazy things have been happening on TPT, but hopefully things should be chill. If you are wanting like a long-term sustainable business, I would definitely tell you that you should be doing marketing on your own. When you are just posting products on TPT, that can work, and it can work really well, and it can work really well for a long time. I talked to someone not too long ago who said that they'd been on TPT for like 10 years and they've only been making products for 10 years and have never marketed, but now it is getting harder to like keep sales up with just that, and so like asking me for marketing advice and stuff like that. So all of that to say, when you are marketing your business, that means that you actually are able to like send people to TPT, which means you're more in control of your traffic, which means you're more in control of how much money you're making. And so marketing is really helpful and really helps you to make money off the products that you already have made. That's something I think about a lot because I like making products. And so my default is like, let's make all the products. But if I can send more people to the products I've already spent all that time making, then I will make more money off of the work that I have already done. and that's what we want, right? Right. So I would not suggest not marketing at all, but there are very, you know, big varying waves of like percentage of time spent marketing versus not marketing. When you are thinking about marketing, there's lots of different things you can do, and again, depending on what you want to do is going to be very different. So when it comes to marketing, you could be doing content marketing, which is my favorite, which is blogging or YouTube or podcast. Or you could do short form like social media situations. So you could do Instagram, you could do Twitter, you could do TikTok, you can do Pinterest is kind of like a whole category in and of itself. Marketing also includes like SEO and trying to make sure you get plenty of people driving to your products from that. It could be paid advertising on Pinterest, on Google, on TPT, on all different platforms. It could be emailing, it could be like, there's so many things that can go into marketing that it can get really overwhelming. So my suggestion is, if you are not marketing right now, just pick like one thing to do to market your products. If you already have a few things, then that's great. If you want to add one more, that's great. If not, that's fine too. I'm kind of lumping all that stuff together in this video. So when I talk about marketing, I mean all of those things. Now, if you are brand new to TPT, like you just got started, you just opened your store, my suggestion is focus on product creation as much as possible. If you want to start an Instagram so you can like kind of get your feet wet in that, great. If you want to start a blog or YouTube to kind of get your feet wet in that, great. But I would really highly recommend that you focus almost entirely on product creation until you get to at least 25 products, and focus on product creation mostly until you get to like 50 products. The reason is because when you first get started, everything is new. So making resources is new, posting resources is new, putting, you know, making covers and thumbnails and previews and all that stuff is new. And so when you're trying to grapple with all that new stuff, it can be really overwhelming to add more new stuff in marketing, okay? So trying to like deal with all that stuff and deal with starting a blog and deal with starting a YouTube can be really just like a lot. So if you can focus on this until you get to a point where you can do that pretty well, which tends to be about 25 to 50 products, then this part is a lot easier. And so then you'll have more mental capacity to take on something else. You'll also have more time because making products does get easier, posting products does get easier and faster, so you'll have more time to spend on marketing, okay? Okay, so if you are new, then you should be spending most of your time on product creation. The other thing is that when you first get started, a lot of times you don't know what you want to create, or you don't know like, yeah, what you want to create, which means you don't know who you're talking to yet, because once you know what you're creating, then you'll know what kind of teachers you're talking to. Or the other way around, if you figure out what teachers you're talking to, then you'll know what you need to create for them. Because if you're creating things for like, you know, kindergarten teachers that like lots of crafty things, that's gonna be a very different audience than if you're talking to like 5th grade teachers who are looking for like centers games. So if you're like just trying to be elementary, it can, like, that's just a really wide variety. So my suggestion is get your 25 to 50 products, and in that you'll figure out, oh, I really like making this kind of product, or this kind of product is selling well, so I'm gonna make more of that. And then you know kind of more who you're targeting and what you want to talk about, which will make marketing easier. So all that to say, when you're new, you definitely should be focused on product creation so you can fill that store up so that you'll have plenty of opportunities for people to purchase your products. Once you've hit 25 or 50 or 100 products, then you can experiment a little bit more and do some marketing. And there is not really any magical, like, this is the perfect amount of product creation versus marketing. If you have not a lot of products and you want to fill your store up, then you want to focus on product creation. If, however, you have not a ton of products, but you don't want a ginormous store, maybe resource creating takes a really long time, maybe resource creating isn't your favorite thing, then you're gonna want to spend more time marketing, because you can make plenty of money with less resources and more marketing if that's the route you want to go to. So if you want to have 25 or 50 products and then spend most of your time working on blogging or YouTube or ads or Pinterest or whatever, you can make plenty of money that way. And that's totally fine. It's just like the business model you're looking for. Or on the flip side, if you have 300 products, then you maybe don't need to do quite as much marketing because you just have more options for people to purchase. Now, can you do plenty of marketing with 300 products? Yes, but the point is that you can have like less products and more marketing, or you can have more products and less marketing, and neither of those is right or wrong. It just depends on what you want your business model to look like. So if you know, oh, I love creating products, I don't really like anything else, then you might want to go for the more products, a little bit less marketing versus the other way around. Now, one other thing that I want you to think about is how much explanation your products need. If you're making something that's like a printable worksheet, it's pretty obvious what that is. But if you have more complex activities like games that you created or crafts that have multiple steps, or you know, big huge units and things like that that are a little bit harder to explain, and maybe people don't automatically know what it is like right off the bat, then you might want to do more marketing. Here's the reason. If you have products that people are like obviously searching for, you know, print and go sub plans, that's pretty obvious. But if you have other products that are things that people aren't necessarily looking for, then they may not be going to TPT to look for that. And so if you have, you know, especially content marketing, if you have blogs and YouTube and Instagram and stuff like that, telling people that your product exists and how to use it and explaining it and showing it off, that's gonna make people more inclined to go and purchase. That's something I see a lot when I do like store audits, is that some people have products that are really cool, but they aren't instantly intuitive. And so once you figure out what it is, it's really cool, but you may not be looking for it, or you may see it and be like, I don't know what that is. But if you go read a blog post about it and then you're like, oh, that's awesome, and then you can click over to TPT and purchase, then you're gonna be a lot more likely to purchase and you're gonna get a lot more traffic. So if your products are harder to explain and not immediately obvious, then I would suggest that you spend more time on marketing. So to recap so far, if you're brand new, focus on product creation. If you want to have less products, focus on marketing. If you want to have less marketing, focus on products. If your products are not super obvious, then you might want to do more marketing. And finally, the last thing you need to think about is, what do you enjoy? Because if you enjoy making products and that lights you up, then make more products and spend, you know, 1 day a week on marketing. Or if you're the other way around and you're like, I love creating videos, I love creating content and blog posts, then maybe you spend more time on that kind of stuff and less time on product creation. It just kind of depends on what you like. And that's one of the great things about this style of business, is that it can be whatever you want. If you want to create all day, great, create all day. If you want to market all day, then great, market all day. You know, if you want to spend a few hours on Pinterest, if you want to spend more of your time blogging, like whatever you want to do is fine, and you can make your business work no matter how you do it. So do whatever floats your boat and whatever works best for you. If you have little chunks of time and not a lot of like blocks of time, I find it's easier to do things like Instagram or Pinterest in little chunks of time. If I have, you know, 5 minutes waiting in line at the cash register somewhere, I can sit there and I can schedule out a couple of Pinterest posts, and I do that. But I can't really like sit waiting in line at Home Depot trying to get my like 8,000th thing of paint and sit there and like make products on my phone. I mean, like, there's ways, but it's difficult. So if you don't have like a lot of time, that might also be a thing to think about. Is there are marketing platforms like social media, like Pinterest, like those kind of things that you can do just a little bit at a time and kind of like piece things together. So whatever you want is totally fine. It just depends on what you want. As far as my business goes, I don't have a good answer, because honestly, it kind of depends on the season. Right now it's summer, and I thought that during the summer I was gonna be like, let's make all the I always think I'm gonna make all the products over the summer, and then I just don't. But you know what I do over the summer? I batch my blog posts and I batch my videos. And so I get a lot of content ready to go. I have a lot of that kind of stuff. So right now I'm spending a lot of time on marketing and I haven't created anything or posted it. I have like 10 products that are ready to go that need to be posted that I haven't posted. And it's been like weeks. Like I really need to get them up because they're just sitting there. And originally it was because I was like, I gotta do the product photography and then I just haven't done it. And now I'm like, you know what, screenshots are fine, and I still haven't done it. So like over the summer, that's kind of where I lean. But when it's back to school season and I'm making all the stuff for my classroom and I'm like, here's something we're doing, here's something we're doing, then I'm gonna spend a lot of time on product creation and less time on marketing. So a lot of it is seasonal and just kind of depends on what time of the year it is. I would say generally during the school year, I spend 5, 6, 7, 8, like 9 to 10 hours, I would say, marketing. And I probably spend, depending on the week, from 0 to up to 5 hours on product creation. That's probably accurate. Like 10 hours of marketing, 5 hours of product creation. But in that includes making YouTube videos, writing blog posts, writing emails, like all of those kind of things. Pinterest has taken a lot of my time recently. And so that is where a lot of my time goes. And specifically, I'll say that when I set up my week, I plan when I'm gonna make videos, and I plan when I'm gonna do Pinterest, and I plan when I'm gonna write emails, and I plan all these things because if I don't plan them, I won't do them. But I will make products whether I plan it or not, because once I get an idea for a product and I get excited about a product, I'm gonna make it. So that's a good reason why I don't necessarily plan it out, and why I usually end up with a little bit less product creation. The other reason is I just have a lot of products, so I don't necessarily have to make all the products because I already have like 800. So that is my 2 cents on product marketing. Hello, are you coming up here? Okay, so that's my 2 cents on marketing versus product creation. There's not a good like magic answer to this, but just kind of look at what you enjoy, look at what you want to do and what kind of works best with your schedule, and then decide from there how you're gonna spend your time. I highly recommend having an ideal week, which is something that I was just talking about. Maybe I'll make a video about that. Maybe I already have a video about that. If there's a video about that, I will link it down below. If not, maybe that'll happen in the next couple of weeks. But basically it's where you just kind of chart out and think like, okay, in like a perfect magical world, what time would I do, like, what time am I working? What time am I doing like my morning routine? What time am I working on my business? What time am I, you know, are there other things going on? Are you going to church? Are you going to soccer practice? Like all those things, and just kind of like mapping out what you want your week to be in an ideal week. So like if things went, you know, well, so not anything crazy, but just a normal week. What do you want a normal week to look like? And having that is really helpful because you can kind of decide like, okay, well, I would like to, you know, film on this day, and I would like to write blog posts on this day, and I would like to, you know, make products during these hours here. And so having that on paper will really help you to figure things out, and you can kind of play around with things and move things around. So maybe we'll try that together. It'll probably be on the vlogging channel because that's where I talk things productivity related. But yeah, I would like to know your 2 cents down in the comments. So let us know. What are your 2 cents about product creation versus marketing? Do you just see it all as business stuff like I do, or do you separate it out? Let us know in the comments, and we shall take your wisdom and go forth and make products. I don't know. Okay, bye.